Hello, and today I am interviewing the amazing author, Deborah Fletcher. Deborah has a book called The Last Supper. Now, Deborah has an amazing story. I don't want to give too much away, but where weight loss surgery sent her in a whole new direction. So, welcome, Deborah. Happy to have you here today.
Hello, Mark. Good to be here. Thank you very much for talking to me today.
You're welcome. Deborah, would you tell us a little bit about your story, please?
I will. So the first 7 years of my life, I was brought up in South Africa where my mum and dad lived for about 8 years. And then it was a bit of a turbulent time, let me say. And in the end, mum and dad decided to divorce. And mum came back to England with me, and dad stayed in South Africa. They had a very turbulent relationship, shall we say, and I got caught in the crossfire sometimes. My mum also had anorexia, was very, very skinny, and that made her sort of obsessive about what I ate. I guess in her mind, she was trying to avoid me going, being overweight or being underweight, but it had the opposite effect. So we came back to the UK, and obviously it was hard because I'd left my dad behind, and then my mum put me into boarding school, which in her mind would have been something fantastic and a great opportunity. As an 8-year-old, I didn't see it like that. So for me, I'd lost my dad and I'd lost my mum. She was only like 55 miles away, but I didn't see her for weeks and weeks on end. So to me, it was like being abandoned twice. And so I started to eat. Even at 8 years old, I started to use food to comfort myself, even to the stage where it sounds a bit sort of cliche now, but myself and the girls in the dormitory used to steal sweets out of the sweet cupboard. And I suppose that's quite funny, but to me it became an obsession to start eating secretly. So I started to put weight on, and then my mum would come to pick me up at half term and be very disappointed that I was getting chubby. And that would devastate me because I'd waited to see her, and then I'd just see disappointment on her face, and that would be really hard to take. So I think that's where my eating disorder, because I became a compulsive secret eater, that's where it really embedded itself. So by the time I yo-yoed sort of from a size 16 to a size 12, I would go on every fad diet that there was. So over the next few years, until the age of 27, I went from a size 12 to a size 16 and back and forward and back, and just yo-yoed. At stages I took, I lived in London at the time, so I took slimming pills, which were very strong amphetamine-based slimming pills that you could just buy in a clinic. And so me and my best mate, who's still my best mate after 32 years, used to save up, go to the clinic, get some pills, lose weight, look fantastic, run out of money, and then put the weight back on. So we did this for several years. And then I had my daughter when I was 27 years old, and something happened to me then. I went into a depression, postnatal depression, and it lasted for a long time. And I just put on more and more weight until I was in my early 30s, and I weighed 21 and a half stone. So that's quite a big gain of weight there, and that was hard to cope with. And I was still depressed on and off, didn't like myself, hated my body, just was very miserable, was in the wrong marriage. And then I used to pray for some help to lose the weight, because I tried every diet. I did try, but the obsession, it's an addiction. I was a food addict. It's not easy to stop doing something you've done from say 6 years old, and then stop doing it, even though rationally know it's the wrong thing to do. And I think the internet was quite young then. I was about 33, 34, and I saw this weight loss surgery, and I thought, right, okay, I'm going to do that. And literally within 6 weeks of finding the researching weight loss surgery and finding the one I thought was right for me, I was in the clinic having it done. Now, I paid for it myself, and there was no psychiatric assessment, whereas nowadays there are a lot of psychiatric assessments and hoops to jump through before you get to that stage, but there was nothing for me. I had my it was £12,500. I had my 12.5 grand. It was in Frankfurt in Germany, and I turned up with my money, and that was it. So I kept a journal, which was the start. Obviously, I've gone on to write a book about this whole experience from then to now. And I journaled, and that was the basis of my book. So it was a sort of 3-week period while I was just before Germany and during my hospital stay, and then coming out the other end. And that was the basis that I started The Last Supper. So I lost 170 pounds in 8 months, which is incredible. The weight, I think I'd lost 12 pounds the first week before I flew back to the UK. And I thought that this was the answer to all my prayers and questions and everything else. I thought, right, I'm going to be slim, and then the world's going to be my oyster, and I'm going to find the perfect man, and everything's going to be fantastic, and the jobs are going to fall at my feet, the whole thing, you know. And little did I know that actually probably got worse after I lost the weight. So here I was, just 8 months after being 21.5 stone, now sort of 9 stone, a size 10 from being a size 30. And I still had the same screwed up, addicted brain as I had before. So then it's quite a disappointment, actually. You know, you go into these things thinking, right, that's my answer. And then when it isn't, so this started me off on a process. I went through some hard times. I did some stupid things and went with the wrong people and did some idiotic things. And then I started to heal myself, and it took a long, long time. And it took really over 10 years before I got to the stage where I started to care about myself, respect myself, love myself, and value myself. And that's the all important part.
Weight loss surgery is a big decision to make, and for some people that is the decision that they need to take. What advice have you got for people who are considering weight loss surgery? And also, could you talk about a few of the complications that you had as well?
Okay. Well, as you know, Mark, I now have a support group on Facebook with about 1,850 people in from all over the world, predominantly the USA, and I have about 50 Brits. And it's called The Emotional Side of Weight Loss Surgery and I started it because I wanted to give back, but I've actually gained a lot out of it. I've gained friends and everything. But I'd never say to anybody, don't have weight loss surgery. But what I do say, I do videos in my group, I do posts every day. We talk about every aspect of weight loss surgery, and there's a lot to consider. And I would never say do not do that, because that is someone's personal decision, and they've probably thought long and hard about it. But what I do say is work on your mind, your heart, your spirit as much as you work on your body. Because what I notice about people coming into my group, you know, they're all like, oh, I've got my surgery date, woo! And I think, yeah, I've been there. And you're going to have your surgery date, and then you're going to have your surgery, and then you're going to still be the same afterwards, and you're still going to have the same addictions to be coping with. So what I say to people is meditate, walk in nature, jump on a trampoline. I don't care what it is that you do, but do something for you every single day to make sure that your mind is ready for the future that you've just given it. Because weight loss surgery is merely a tool. It is not a quick fix. Yes, you'll lose the weight, but here's the sad part. I have 1,800 people in that group, and a lot of them regain, or they have stalls, and that is only the more proof to me that it isn't just about the tool, is it? It's about your mindset and how you feel about yourself. The common theme is that people do not recognize their own value, that they don't love themselves, they have a lot of self-limiting beliefs, and so you need the whole holistic thing. So in America, there is a lot of therapy available. Not so much in the UK. It is there, but it's not as as much as it should be. So therefore, I would never tell anybody not to do something or advise them not to do anything. I'd give them the reality. As far as complications are concerned, some people never have a complication at all through weight loss surgery. They'll just sail through it, and it'll be fantastic. Obviously, there are side effects after weight loss surgery. You lose your hair because of such a dramatic weight loss. You have excess skin to deal with. So, like for me, I swapped what I thought was unattractive body for another, because I had this slim body but with loads of excess skin on it, and that's not attractive, or it wasn't attractive to me. That's how I felt. So then vitamin deficiency. For the rest of my life, I have malabsorption. So the surgery that I've had means that I do not absorb things the same way as everybody else. So I have to take strong vitamins. I have to inject myself with B12 every couple of days, and that's for life. There's a lot. I mean, it's in the book. There is a whole section on side effects of weight loss surgery. And then obviously there's the emotional side as well, which I mentioned before. It isn't a quick fix. You're still left with the same issues that you had before. For me personally, and I don't want to scare everybody, but I had a relatively easy weight loss surgery, and then started to have problems about 2 years after, where my intestines got twisted, and then I got septicemia. And basically gangrene. So I then had to have an emergency operation to save my life, because my stomach was literally rotting. I've had 8 surgeries in total in 16 years, and thank God and touch wood, I haven't had anything in the last 3 or 4 years. But I it is a worry. It is in the back of my head. That it should happen again.
People need to know, obviously, before they make the decision, because there are risks with every surgery, isn't there, Deborah?
Yeah.
Your book is a real inspiration. It's called The Last Supper. I'd like you to give just a quick, brief overview of the book. I would say it's not just for people who are having weight loss surgery. I would say it's for people who want to lose weight, or people who want to really see inspiration at its best. But can you just give us a brief overview of your book, Deborah?
Thank you, Mark. That's so sweet. I'll pay you later. The book is a journey, and like life is a journey. So I messed it up. It didn't have a good start. That showed in my addiction to food, and then other cross addictions when I'd conquered the food one. And then it's basically a story of how you can overcome anything, and no matter how low your self-esteem, and how, at one point I wanted to kill myself and was rocking on the floor in my bathroom, and I didn't see a point in me being here. And it was only my beautiful daughter that made me get out of bed the next day and not actually end it. So you can go from that awful rock bottom to now where I am. I've got so many opportunities out there. I've written the first book. I'm starting to write my second book. I've got 5-star reviews. I've got lovely friends like you, and things are really looking up. And I really cherish myself and value myself now, and that's worth anything. And so that's what the book is, really. It's my techniques as well. And funny you should say that, but I've had quite a few people who haven't had weight loss surgery read my book and love it.
Brilliant.
So that's good. I didn't have to pay them though.
You're a life coach now. You're an author. You're supporting and helping so many people. Can you tell me what the real turning point where you thought, this is where I'm changing my life, to where you are now?
Yeah, I think a succession of failed careers, failed relationships, and I just thought, I think I was always trying to blame everything else and change the things around me. And actually, the only thing that you can change is you. And I think when I reached that, that was probably my rock bottom, and that I reached that stage where I thought the only person that I can change is me. So I started to go internal, you know, and meditate and pray and just get in touch with my own heart. And then that's where things started to get better for me, and I could see a better future, and I learned to start liking myself and then loving myself, and now it's easy to give to other people because I want them to learn from, you know, the mistakes that I've made.
You've been on a real roller coaster, and it's great, the journey that you're on now. You're a real inspiration to people. I've really enjoyed chatting to you. Just tell people how they can connect with you, Deborah. I will put the link to the book and your page for your book too. How can people best get in touch with you?
Okay, sure. Well, I'm on Facebook, Deborah Fletcher, and I have a support group called The Emotional Side of Weight Loss Surgery. Not very catchy, is it, Mark? I should have thought about that. And I also have a website called, which is www.thetruthaboutweightlosssurgery.com. Again, another catchy title. And via Messenger.
Well, thank you for being my guest today. I've really enjoyed chatting to you, and we'll catch up soon, Deborah.
It's my absolute pleasure as always. Take care.
You take care.
Bye.
Bye.